Hi, my name is Saebra Pipoly, and I'm the owner and founder of Footfalls and Footfalls. And today we are interviewing Erin Bevington, and she works for HETRA, which is a center that provides equine-assisted activities and therapies. And she is also involved with Equi-Force. So Erin, welcome. Thank you so much for jumping on and doing an interview.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How are you involved with HETRA and how are you involved with Equi-Force?
Yeah. So I have been in this industry for almost 25 years now, and actually have a degree in equine science from Colorado State University. And shortly after I graduated from college, I got married, and my sister-in-law is an occupational therapist and had started a small program out here in Nebraska. So after I graduated, I moved to Nebraska with my husband, and she kind of drew me in. And at the time, I was training and showing and giving lessons and doing all of that good stuff. And then I got pregnant. So that kind of put a halt on that direction that I thought I was going. And kind of started helping out with this small center that my sister-in-law had started, and things kind of started growing. At that point in time, you know, we had 10 or 12 clients and a couple horses, and we're operating a couple days a week. And her and I are pretty close in age, and we started having kids about the same time. And as our families grew, we really wanted that flexibility of being able to control our schedules and stay home with our kids. And we really, after we then had, I had my daughter 4 years after my son, and my sister-in-law Edie also had her daughter. Our daughters are 4 months apart, so that was super fun. And after she had Cassidy and I had Leah, we decided that we really needed to make a go of this, because we did not want to go back to the traditional workplace. And kind of sat down for a couple days and hashed out a plan, and here's what we're going to do. We started putting out on paper, and so that's kind of how HETRA got going. We shortly after that expanded to a second facility. Things started to kind of take off, and we were operating out of both of two facilities that were about 20 minutes apart. I got certified. I am a PATH certified instructor, or a CTRI now. Got certified in, I think it was 2000.
Okay.
So in the old videotape method.
The NAR days.
The NAR phase, absolutely. Yep. And yeah, then in 2014, HETRA had the amazing opportunity to move to our own facility. So we combined our two locations into one, and we paid off our facility a little over a year ago, which is very exciting. So we now own it. And so, yeah, we're super proud of where HETRA has been and gone, and I feel very honored to be a part of that. It's very much in my heart.
That's awesome. And what different programs or therapies do you guys offer at HETRA right now?
Yeah. So our base has been always kind of the therapeutic riding, adaptive riding, and hippotherapy. So because Edie's a therapist, and we've drawn in lots of other therapists as well. But since we've moved to our new facility, we've added some additional programming. We now have a veterans program. And then our newer program is our life skills program. So that's one we've gotten a lot of interest in. It's been a real interest in our community. And it's kind of unique. We are working with transitional age adults with the disabilities. They've kind of moving out of the high school in Nebraska. Once they leave high school, there's not a lot of resources for them. So families are really struggling with, giving them some life skills that they can then use to go obtain jobs or, be productive members of society. So we have a full-time person that's running that program. They're out here about 2 hours a week, a couple times a week. And we're seeing some great results from that program as well. And then last year we did hire on a full-time mental health therapist who, so our mental health program is really going, as well as an equine assisted learning program. And we also do driving. So we're pretty much, I think, everything except vaulting
Okay.
we're doing now. So
that's awesome. And how many horses do you guys have, and about how many people do you serve a week-ish?
Yeah, so we have 25 horses in our program. We have a staff of about 30, 10 of which right now, 10 of which are full-time. And then when we're up and running, not during coronavirus, we're serving about 140 in our traditional programming, like therapeutic riding, driving, therapy services. And then we have probably additional 15 to 20 in our life skills program.
Wow, that's awesome.
Kind of every week. Yeah, so it's very busy.
Yeah. And then so on top of HETRA, you are also involved with Equi-Force. So can you explain kind of your role with Equi-Force and what it is?
So I started, originally back in 2009, when HETRA was just kind of starting to really grow. We were still operating out of 2 separate facilities, and we really needed a database that could pull all of our pieces together into one place. Because we were operating out of 2 locations, it was becoming a nightmare, having our data in 2 locations where everybody could access it in real time. And I'm like, God, there's got to be a way that we can do this. Somebody's got to have some way we can do this. So we started researching, and one of our board members turned us on to Salesforce. I then had the opportunity to take some courses. I took their admin course, and I'm a horse person and a techie person, which is kind of rare, but I dug in. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. So I really started to brainstorm, worked with my team, and we kind of started customizing Salesforce. And started using it, and then, going to PATH conferences, or no, I was PATH at that point. Started going to conferences, talking to people about it, and people were like, wow, that sounds really cool. Can you show me what it is and what it looks like? And found, other centers were in very much the same boat as we were, and started kind of working with other centers, helping them do the same thing that we had done. And then, it's kind of taken off from there.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Yeah. So during your time in the industry, so you said that you've kind of been in the equine assisted activities and therapies industry for about 25 years now, right?
Yeah.
So what has been, is there 1 or 2 things that really stand out of being like kind of the most rewarding thing during your time so far?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just watching HETRA grow to what it is today. I'm so darn proud of this organization and the people that I work with. People always are, Equi-Force obviously is doing really well, that everybody thinks that I'm going to leave my center and go do this. And I tell people I would never do that, because HETRA it's like part of me. Yeah. And, I can just never imagine leaving it. So I will probably be there until the day I die, because I probably will never retire, but yeah, so I think for me, that's been one of the most rewarding things, is being a part of growing that organization to where it is today. In our community, we're, a very well-known, and being out in the community and saying that, what my role is HETRA, they're, oh yeah, I've heard of that. And, that's a very cool place. Yeah. And, you're lucky to get to work there. And I do every day. I feel like I'm super lucky to get to do what I do.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So what about, has there been any like major challenges you've had to overcome? I mean, of course, other than, having kids at that perfect timing when everything's kind of rolling, yes. But, yes. Has there been any other challenges that you've overcome that you can maybe, help encourage other instructors through that, or maybe facing the same thing right now?
Yeah. So I guess a couple, I have a personal challenge and organizational challenge I'll share. So for me, I've always been, I grew up this way. I'm very much of an introvert. So, kind of learning how to get outside of my box and get uncomfortable in situations, even something like this, is not natural for me. But with Equi-Force as well, and giving, I've started giving presentations at regional conferences and stuff like that, which has been important for HETRA as well as for Equi-Force and for me personally. Learning how to step outside of my comfort zone and push myself has really made me a better person and helped me, grow professionally as well. So that's not something I've ever been good at, but the last years I really have pushed myself there, and it's really paid off. So
That's
I
awesome.
continue to try to do that. Organizationally, obviously every center goes through its challenges. We're all going through a challenge right now with coronavirus. What was it? In 2015, we had a virus go through our barn. And it was actually coronavirus for horses. So it was probably one of the most challenging things that our center has gone through. We did lose one horse. We felt fortunate that it was only one horse we lost, but it shut down our organization for about a month, and we had, I think, 5 or 6 horses that got sick. We had a huge storm that blew through at the same time we were dealing with that.
Oh my God.
And it knocked out our power. We were without power for 5 days, which of course we have automatic walkers and we have horses on IV. And it was one of the most challenging things I've ever experienced. Shelby, our horse manager, and myself stayed on site through the whole thing. We were sleeping in recliner, beach chairs in, next to the horses' stalls because they were on IVs. They couldn't be unattended. But it was also very inspiring to see our team pull together and to get through that together made our organization that much stronger. We had all of our horses were quarantined. None of them could. Equine coronavirus is transmitted through their manure. So they could not be in contact with each other. They couldn't get turned out together. Each stall, when we were cleaning, we had to disinfect our wheelbarrows and all of our equipment between each stall. We had to, everybody had to sanitize their shoes and their, their hands and, all the equipment, the halters, everything. I mean, all the horses were hand walked 3 times a day. So we had a team over taking care of the horses, the non-sick horses. We were taking temperatures twice a day. And we had another team over taking care of the sick horses. If anybody started to spike a fever, they moved to the other side of the barn. And it was just, it was one of the most difficult things we've been through. But to see our team come together and the community came together and supported us, and we had some amazing donations come through. It, again, like I said earlier, it really just made us stronger.
That's awesome.
So I equate that to kind of what we're going through right now. I think watching teams pull together and get creative and how to keep our organizations continuing to serve, I think has been inspiring. Everybody's doing something a little bit different, and I think we're all kind of feeding off each other and getting ideas from each other, and I think that's been great to see. Yeah.
With the horse issue that you guys had, how long were you guys kind of out of commission for a while? So how long did it take you guys to get through it all?
I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was about 6 weeks that we were shut down. It's similar to the human coronavirus. Everybody had to be symptom free for 14 days. And then once that happened, we had to go another 14 days before we knew that it was completely cleared from our barn. To make sure that nobody else was infected. And again, similar to the human coronavirus, we suspected that there were horses that were carriers but asymptomatic. And that's how we suspect that it came into our facility. We had a horse come in, never got sick, never showed any symptoms, spiked a fever, anything, but we did suspect that was one of the horses that brought it, or the horse that brought it in, but we never were able to prove that. But it was scary and challenging, but we learned a lot from it for sure.
That's awesome. So few weeks, but you guys made it through, and
we did
made it out and made it, and you guys are super strong now.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely made us a lot stronger.
That's good. Well, thanks for sharing. That's a big, 2 big things that you overcame. So we kind of shared about Equi-Force and, how it came about and how it was involved with HETRA and, all that evolution. What should instructors be thinking about when they're looking for something along the lines of Equi-Force, and how can Equi-Force help centers or instructors in our industry?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned before, having a database that kind of pulls everything into one place, I think was really important for our center. And, it's a web-based database, so you can access it from anywhere. So it is mobile friendly, as well as, there's an app for a tablet, that kind of stuff. So we can access, our instructors can do their notes from their phone or go home and do their notes at the end of the day. They can, we have a lot of part-time instructors, so they want to be able to see the schedule from, from work. But also being able to pull up a contact in the system and see not only were they a volunteer, but they are also a donor and they came to our event. And a lot of databases out there can't pull together that programming and donor piece into one. So you're looking at multiple systems and trying to put all the pieces together to see, what exactly has this person done. So that was really critical for us. And just really streamlining the process. We want to spend all of our time in the barn, but obviously there's definitely a business piece to being successful at, having a successful center. So we do have to spend some time in the office, but obviously we want to minimize that time. And I think having a database that works for your organization is really important. The other big thing is getting those statistics and the data. To be able to share with donors and the community about the good work that we do. That's something I'm super passionate about. And, at our center, we've really been able to do that now and be successful with grant applications and asking for funding because we have our data on how our participants are progressing and, the good that they're getting out of what we can do.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned it tracks, you can do rider notes or participant notes and track donor data and volunteering. Is there anything for the horses to tie the?
Yeah, there's a whole piece for horses. So each horse has their own profile page. We're tracking their horse health history, that how many hours a week are they working. We can report off of both how often they're scheduled to work, as well as how often they're actually working, because those don't always match up, right? We pull a horse out of the stall and they've lost a shoe or they're being silly that day and we got to replace them with somebody else. So we do a lot of that at HETRA, really analyzing that horse information is really critical for Shelby, our horse manager. We have some very specific criteria for how many hours a week our horse can work, and not just work in any session. So what are their weight limits? And for those horses that can carry the heavier weight, is that a balanced rider or an unbalanced rider? And then how many of those can they do a day or a week? So we don't have kind of a straight across the board, we can do this many hours a week per day. We get very specific, and that's come from experience of watching horses burn out and knowing that we have to draw the line and make sure we're taking care of those horses. And so a program like this helps us do that in a very efficient manner.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you can also tie in that same database to the horse piece of, that's pretty unique to our industry and what we do, and a lot of other, that's how great it is, because we need all those pieces together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If an instructor or a center is interested in learning more about Equi-Force, what are the steps that they take to see if it's a good fit for them and to learn?
Yeah. So send me an email. My email is erin@equiforce.com, or you can email me erin@hetra.org. Either one, it all comes to the same bucket. But so yeah, send me an email. Let me know. My website is out there as well. And let me know. I do free demos all the time. Especially right now, things have been crazy busy. Everybody's stuck in their offices, and they all think it's a great time to start a database, which I'm excited about. But yeah, I've got lots of demos scheduled right now. If you're interested, let me know. And then, if they're interested in moving forward, we can certainly talk about those steps. I am offering some payment options. I know centers are challenged with funding at this point in time, so I am offering some options there as well.
Yeah. And so it's not a free service, but usually you invest into something that really makes a difference. Why should an instructor or center invest into this type of platform? What differences have you seen?
So I think, I kind of talked about some whys before. I think, being able to get those statistics out of your system, I think Equi-Force has just made our organization that much stronger, being able to, get those statistics on our participants and be able to provide that to donors. But the donor management has been important as well. Mm-hmm. So, cultivating those donors and staying in touch with them and, being able to run a report and see, who donated last year, but maybe hasn't donated this year, and being able to, pull up that list of leads. Knowing that, this donor always donates this time of year and we haven't seen anything from them yet, or we have a whole engagement plan in there for donors who have donated. So we reach out and send them just an informational letter, so many times a year if they've donated at a certain level. And that really helps to keep our donors engaged as well. And this database has helped us do that.
That's awesome. That's really great. So if people want to get a hold of you, they can either email you at your HETRA email or the Equi-Force email, and then they can learn more about HETRA. And you guys have some really cool educational opportunities and worksheets and fun stuff on your website.
Yes.
Yeah. So check out HETRA. And then if they want to learn more about Equi-Force, check out your website for Equi-Force, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this interview. And I know it's been something we had talked about for a few months of, we need to get together to do a quick interview, and finally had the time to do it. So I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to do it.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you around.
Thanks. You too.